Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Parks Investigative Live. I'm your host, Investigative Parks. I'll be soon to be joined by my co-host, Pastor Kevin Graves. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in on tonight's live virtual debate. Guys, we're so excited. Guys and gals, I should say, we're so excited that you have joined us, and we're going to do what we think is the first of its kind virtual debate. This thing was all inspired since we are still in the middle of a pandemic. And guys, we want you to be a part and hear what the candidates have to say. Let me be the first to say that we have reached out to all 7 mayor candidates. 6 responded. And as of now, I have 5 candidates on the live. We're still waiting to hear from Councilman Tyrone. Last we spoke, he planned to join the program. For whatever reason, he's not on the program on tonight. So hopefully he'll join us at some point before this live ends. But again, guys, thank you so much for joining the program. I'm waiting on my co-host, Pastor Graves. If he promised to join us at some point as soon as possible. So therefore, we're not going to delay it any further. We're going to get started with tonight's program. And guys, also, we're going to go over the rules for tonight's debate. And these are the rules for the virtual debate, and as well as some code of conduct. So without delaying it any further, I'm going to go ahead and just read over the rules before we begin and bring all the candidates on. Here we go. Rules for the virtual debate. Pastor Graves and myself will share the moderator role and ask ask 3 questions each to all the candidates. Nor myself or Pastor Graves will do any fact checking on tonight to any candidate's response. Candidates will have 3 minutes to give an opening statement. Candidates will have 2 minutes to answer each question that is given. Candidates will also be allowed to respond to other candidates for 1 minute max. However, if a candidate goes over the allotted time, their mic will be muted after the next completed sentence after the time has expired. Also, the final rule on tonight, candidates will exercise respect and hopefully not personally attack another candidate or a candidate's family member during the live stream. If we feel that a candidate is being disrespectful or attacks another candidate's live family member, they will be removed from the live stream. But guys, we don't expect to have any of that going on. But of course, these are the rules, and we wanted to let all the candidates know of the rules, and all of them has agreed to go by those rules. And so without delaying any further, guys, we're going to get started with tonight's virtual debate. I'm going to break them on one by one. Randle Bland, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Hi, everyone out there in Meridian.
Good. All right. Councilwoman Kim Houston, welcome to the program.
Good evening. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Councilman Weston Lindemann, thank you for joining the program.
Thank you for stepping up to do this debate. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely. Minister Randle Jennings, thank you so much for accepting the invite and joining the program as well.
Glad to be here and good to see everybody.
Absolutely. And our last candidate who was online is none other than Mr. Robert Ray. Robert, thank you for joining the program as well.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, guys, while I have all of you guys on, just for the sake of the microphones, if you would, until you're called upon or until it's time to speak, if you would, mute your mic. There should be an option tab where you can mute your mic. That kind of just keeps the audio, without any feedbacks or any outside or inside noises, I should say. So if you would, but when you're called upon, just remember to unmute your mic, and we'll go ahead and get started with tonight's program. Pastor Jennings, you can go ahead and unmute your mic, and if you would, lead us in prayer so we can get started with tonight's program, sir.
Our hearts and minds are clear. Most holy and gracious Father, we come once again saying thank you, Lord, for all that you've done for us, all that you're doing for us, and all that you're going to do. We ask you now, Father, in the name of Jesus, to use us in a mighty way to speak correctly, within reason, within power, and be able to understand that everything that you do is done in decency and it's done in order. We just thank you for being our God and being our guide. Continue to bless all these people that are here and their families. Allow us to be able to understand that we're speaking for you, Lord. It's in your name, Son, Jesus, that we pray. Amen.
Amen, 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 amen. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're still waiting on my co-host, Pastor Graves, but none other. I do have all the questions. We was going to break them down in half, but we're going to go ahead and get started with tonight's program. And we'll go here and let me remind the viewers, if you would, please go ahead and share this live or tag someone if you know someone who wants to be on this program to hear what the mayoral candidates have to say. Go ahead and share this live, create a watch party, or whatever you got to do. And of course, if you're unable to view this live, it will be left up for later viewing. So that's just a quick reminder. All right, guys. Let me get through my technical side here, and we'll go ahead and get started with tonight's questions. And guys, if you have comments or questions for the candidates, if we have time, we will try to answer or respond to your comments or question. Just be mindful, viewers. Please be respectful to the candidate, whether it's your choice or your candidate's choice or not. Let's be respectful for them, and any derogatory remarks will not be allowed or will not be posted on the live screen. So let's keep that in mind. All right, guys, if you would, I got a cup here with all you guys' name in here because we don't want to be biased and just pick someone to go first. So I'm gonna have one of my kids to pull a name out, and you would, in that order, we'll ask the question. So, Caleb, you want to do the honors? Come around. All right. The names are in this cup, so pick a name out. All right. All right, Weston Lindemann. Your name got chosen first. All right. So we'll go with question number one for Winston. I'm going to put the question on the screen. And when you begin to talk, I'll give you the main screen. And guys, remember to mute your mic until you're called upon. All right.
Mr. Parks, are we doing opening statements or straight to the first question?
You know what? You're absolutely right. I apologize. I am getting ahead of myself. So we will do the opening statements. Thank you so much, Winston. And that's why I need my co-host here because I got everything on my plate. Again, we have 3 minutes for each of you to give your opening statements. So, Winston, since your name was pulled first, you go ahead and give the opening statement first.
Sure. Well, as many of you know, over the past 4 years, I have served as the city councilman for Ward 5. And in that time, I have been very grateful to truly receive a experience, an education of being a councilman, if you will. And I believe that experience has uniquely qualified me to take on the office of mayor because I've done this as a full-time job, even though it is very much part-time pay. What began as disputes and disagreements with members of the administration over things as simple as the mismanagement of landscaping in downtown Meridian in March of 2018 grew into further inquiries and investigations into the conduct of the administration and various aspects of the city's finances. In the summer of 2018, that led me to discover what the state auditor eventually determined to be the embezzlement being done by multiple Meridian police officers that led to felony indictments. That is just the beginning of what I did as a lone council member when no one else seemed to take issue with these various things that continue to come up time after time in council meetings. My forays into the mismanagement and those inquiries that led me to propose a number of solutions that would have saved taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. My fighting the mayor's proposed tax increases multiple times and demonstrating that the city ended budget years with $4 million in excess. All of these things leading up to my eventual announcement to run for mayor in the wake of an irresponsible $12 million bond issue that the council voted on following the mayor's lead with a 4-1 vote are all reasons why I am the most capable and qualified of all of my colleagues and fellow concerned citizens running for mayor. I think that I have uniquely exhibited what is really at the heart of leadership, and that is the ability to be resilient and maintain and sustain one's goals, ethics, and drive to do what is our purpose as leaders in the city of Meridian in the face of a whole lot of frustration, attempts at intimidation, and obfuscation of myself and what I'm about and what I've tried to accomplish for the city of Meridian. I think there's a lot more to be done, and I'm committed to the task as a full-time mayor.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that, Weston Lindemann, and thank you for staying within that time frame. All right. We're going to pull the next name. If you would, do the honors. They're a little camera shy, guys. They don't want to show their face, but all right. All right. All right. Second up on the program is Kimberly Houston. Kimberly Houston, I will go ahead and give you the platform. If you would, unmute your mic and go ahead. You got 3 minutes. Start now.
Well, good evening, everyone. I am no stranger to the City of Meridian government. I have served as your council representative since 2013, 8 years. I have displayed that I know how to work well with the administration. I'm a team player. We've done things working together like safe routes to schools for Ward 4, making sure that the TJ Harris and Oakland Heights Elementary, that those sidewalks are in place for our children and adults to get around Meridian safely. The paving within Ward 4, cleaning up the ward by tearing down houses, and the revitalization of James Chaney Park. I think it's important that we work with each other and not against each other. But there are some things that I was able to accomplish on my own. And I just want to kind of open the door with that because I was really in tune with my ward, and I want to bring those same kind of influences, if you will, to the City of Meridian. I established consistent community meetings within Ward 4, something that had not been going on, and I really don't think it was happening in any of the other wards consistently since 2013. I established the Ward 4 Easter egg hunts for the youth of Ward 4 that did not have transportation to get all the way over to Highland Park. We hosted Easter egg hunts at Sawashi Park and at James Chaney Park. We started the Ward 4 Festival, which was basically, we wanted to remember Mr. James Chaney, who the park is named after, but it was a day to bring unity within the community, something else that I'm big on and running on even now. When we begin to spend time with each other, get to know one another, we can start maybe looking beyond the things that divide us and find a way to come together and make our city better. Our youth played sports, our adults kicked back. We had DJs, the Meridian Police Department and Fire Department were out there playing with the kids. Great, wonderful time. Also, we established in partnership with Upward Bound Ministries, we started Sarah's Daughters Leadership Academy. Since 2013, I made a commitment to take an active interest in the welfare of our youth. And this is a middle school program focused on girls, helping them to understand their purpose, and me trying to be a role model for women and girls that you can do anything. And also, I was voted 3 times as president, as your council president. That means a lot. That says a lot about my ability to lead, my ability to be a team player, my ability to show professionalism, accountability, accessibility, and we could keep going. But I just wanted to open the door tonight to let Meridian know that I want to be your mayor. I'm having to step down from being on the city council because I want to step up and give the city an opportunity to move it in a completely different direction under my leadership. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Councilwoman. All right. We're going to go to the name pulling. Caleb. All right. Next up, Robert Ray. Robert Ray, I'm going to give you the platform, and you can go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Starting now, sir.
Thank you. My name is Robert J. Ray, and I was born here in Mississippi, and I finished high school here in Mississippi, and I've been a counselor and therapist for over 40 years, and I've been supervising people and getting people in order and getting people places in order. And I think that's what we need here in Meridian. We need something more progressive, something more dynamic. And that's what I'm bringing to the city of Meridian. We got some neat venues that have come about during our Mayor Bland's time. But we've got to make use of these venues, and we've got to bring people to Meridian. Meridian is a what you might call a cursed city because of all of the racist things that have happened here and around in this area. I'm not just saying that. It's because I've talked to people that have heard about Meridian and told me about their relatives coming to Meridian and having bad experiences. They go away and share that with people, and it get people pushed away from Meridian. And I want to bring new processes here, and like my systemic racism training. We know that these police officers are practicing systemic racism. We know that, and we've got to deal with those issues. We've got to train these guys to be fair and non-racist with everybody that they come in contact with out there. And that's not happening here in Meridian. And this is what I'm going to bring to the city of Meridian. We're going to be more progressive, and we're going to be more city oriented, where people are going to want to come to Meridian. And my process is going to bring people here. We're going to go out and bring the big billion-dollar businesses here to Meridian because we got the area for it, we have the weather for it, and we got a lot of people that's out of jobs and need jobs. But they need to be professional workers, and that's what I'm going to be bringing. We need professional workers, and I'm going to show the city of Meridian how to have those professional workers for the city of Meridian. So when a company does come to Meridian, they've got people ready to go to work and ready to do the job and get it done. So that's all I got to share about that, and I'm anxious to move on.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Robert Ray. All right. We're going to go to the next name, pulling. Caitlin. All right. Percy Bland. Let me say this. Mayor Percy Bland. I'm going to go ahead and give you the platform, sir. You have 3 minutes. Start now. If you would, unmute your mic.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cornelius Parks, for having this tonight, and welcome Meridian and everyone watching to this virtual debate. Just wanted to say again, the last 4 years has been very something that's very special to me and my team. We have shown over the last 4 years during crisis and other challenges that we have had proven positive and progressive leadership. A lot of what you see happening in the city of Meridian right now, from downtown, big projects like the 3-foot, like the Children's Museum and the Max, have come with the leadership of myself and my team, with my hands directly involved in each and every one of those projects. We have now moved forward in the direction to help our citizens pave more streets in the city of Meridian with a paving bond. And also the other day, we had a large announcement for our city with the commissioner of MDOT, Willie Simmons, of another $25.5 million that's going to be spent in the city of Meridian, and also on our bridges, and also on our 2059 highway with LED lights throughout. Also, we're going to have 3 billboards out there in regards to helping people as they travel through town, communicating to them any issues with traffic or weather or anything else. Those are going to be major enhancements to our city. Modernization projects have continued, also with a $10 million water meter project that we have done over the last 4 years. The biggest thing, though, that I want to communicate to the people of Meridian and the people that are watching right now, we know that we still have a lot more work to do for the citizens. We know that even though we have this city moving in the right direction with a lot of the projects that we not just have for downtown, we have had some major projects on the west side of town and the east side of town, even on North Hill Street. There's still more work to do. The past year has been very tough on all of us due to COVID. We had to streamline a lot of our operations and the things that we have done for small businesses. But even with all of what we did, we still met our sales tax revenues for the year. And we have done very well. We're up about 7.8% on our sales tax revenues. We have met a lot of things without any property sales tax increases. So with the things that we have done as the mayor for the last 4 years and the last 8 years, a lot of momentum that we have, we want to continue into the next 4 years. You were saying something. Are you saying how much time? I can hear what you were saying.
Yes, actually, I was giving you, let you know, 10 seconds.
Okay. I'm fine. I'll wait for the questions.
Okay. All right. And I apologize. It may be a little delay in the feed, but I just want to make sure everybody stays within that 3-minute time frame so we can just stay on course. All right. Randle, you'll be the last up since former Councilman Tyrone Johnson has not joined us yet. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the platform. If you would unmute your mic, and you have 3 minutes starting now.
Good evening. As you all know, that my name is Randle Jennings. I am a 1978 graduate of Meridian Public School District. And I also attended Stillman College, which is a strong HBCU in the state of Alabama. My 3-minute spiel to communicate with the people about what I stand for goes all the way back to 2006 when I first decided to come back home. I came back home because I knew that the community needed some help. And I came home and I created a program called CAST, Communities and Schools Together. And I gathered a grant from the school district, and I ran an 8-week summer program with boys between the ages of 4 and 14 at 150 boys. We did a magnificent job with making sure that they understood what they were supposed to be doing. It was sports oriented, but it was strong about math and reading, and that was the 2 areas that we wanted to understand what was going on. When we finally realized that the situation was dire and worse than we gave it credit for, we reached out to the city to help us be able to understand what was going on, to try to help the community. They voted 5-0 to give me a $25,000 grant, and they gave it to me in increments of $12,500. I took that money to try my best to make sure that they understood. We were going to set up the old Belma Young Center to make sure, but I did not know that City of Meridian was involved in a school to prison pipeline. And what that means is they were automatically arresting our children at school, sending them to the juvenile center, which will automatically put them into our juvenile criminal system. I don't want to get into the details about that, but I want you to know that's how I wind up coming home. I've been teaching and coaching it for the last 25 years at the collegiate level, HBCUs mostly, trying to make sure that, and I recruited very heavily out of Meridian. This is my home. I just know that our children, I know how to fix the school system also. I'm going to say that in this 3-minute spiel, I know how to fix the school system. But something or someone don't want this school system to be fixed, which means that Mr. Ray talks about the fact that we're losing a lot of major jobs and industries. The others talk about the fact that they know exactly what our needs are. But if you don't fix our schools, all the other stuff is mute, is minute. It really doesn't mean anything. We grew up in Meridian as a solidified community. The first 6 years of my training was in a segregated school. The next 6 years of my training was in an integrated school system. In the segregated system, we worked and we loved and we nurtured and we understood how to serve one another. This is no racist statement. This is a reality statement. So I just want our people to know that if you want to change, if we want to go somewhere, we got to fix our schools first. Then we have to go back to a council manager form of government. That puts the work back on the city council because the city council knows their people. The mayor does not know all the people. The city council does because they elect them out of their wards. So let's make sure we fix this thing and move our community forward. God bless you.
Thank you so much for that, Pastor Jennings. Actually, you had a timer too because you was right on point. You actually stopped right at the 3-minute mark, so I appreciate that. All right, guys, thank you so much for your 3-minute introduction. We're not going to delay the program any further. We're going to go straight to the questions. Again, guys, if you just now joined us, you're watching Parks Investigative Live. I'm your host, Investigator Parks. We have the Meridian, Mississippi mayoral candidates. Well, 5 of the mayoral candidates. We initially had 6 that were supposed to join in. We're missing former Councilman Tyrone Johnson. Have not heard back from him for whatever reason. We're going to carry on the program. Also, the invitation was sent out to mayoral candidate Jimmy Smith, and he declined to come on as well. So I just want to let everybody know we did reach out to all the candidates to make sure that we're equal and that everybody had a fair shot. All right. I think I have my co-host finally. He's not fired yet.
How are you? I am so sorry for the delay. My internet connection, no good. It was no good. So I had to go and straighten that out. last minute business. Nevertheless, I am with all of you. Thank you. Sorry for joining you so late. My brother Cornelius, happy birthday to you. I don't know if you shared the word. I'm sure a lot of the people on the panel know that it's your birthday today. So I just wanted to salute you before we get started. Before I get started, you already started. And thank you so much for your patience. And it's great to see all of you. Weston, yes, good to see you again, my friend. And yes, Pastor Kim. Oh, God bless you, woman of God. Good to see you. Where did you leave off?
Okay, we're actually going to get into the questions. They all the candidates done the 3-minute introduction. But since you put it out there that it's my birthday, since we have, let me see, I think we only have one female on, and she's got an angelic voice. Councilwoman Houston, you want to go ahead and do the honors?
Oh my God, I wouldn't say angelic voice, but if y'all want to join me, let's go ahead and just sing happy birthday. I was wondering if you were going to be up to something when they brought that up. But on behalf of all the panelists on here tonight, all of us, we want to wish you a happy birthday and happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Cornelia. Happy birthday to you.
Are you one? Are you two?
Wow. Hey, thank you so much. But look, it's not about me. I promise you. And we got many viewers on live, more viewers than I ever had since I've started this program. And I know they want to hear from you guys. But look, I put my Cash App up there in case you guys want to bless. And I'm not talking about you mayoral candidates because you guys are spending money. But I'm talking about the viewers. If you just feel special and, hey, $1, $5, my Cash App is at the bottom. So anyway, guys, we're going to get back into the program. Pastor Graves, you have the questions. I'm going to give you questions 1 through 3. And if you would, we have the order. We already drew names. Councilman Weston Lindemann, he's up first. I'm going to go ahead and give him the platform. So you go ahead and start with question 1.
Weston, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Likewise, sir. My question to you as mayor, would you follow the Stennis study conducted by the city for recommendations for salary and benefits to ensure deserving employees would be compensated, or follow the old political way?
Well, that's a very good question, because the old political way is the current way, even though we have adopted portions of the Stennis study. In 2017, my first year on the council, I did push along with former Councilman Tyrone Johnson at the request of the mayor to approve of the job descriptions within the Stennis study. About a year later, we discovered through some records requests that I placed over the summer of 2018, we discovered that there were about 70 employees outside of the max pay bands for their positions. We know from the 2019 report on bad management decisions that I published that there are a lot of employees who aren't actually working in their official job description, even with the updated job descriptions from the Stennis study. Even though we increased the minimum we increased the maximum for the pay bands as recommended in the Stennis study, we have not increased the minimum. So there are lots of employees that have yet to receive the pay raises that they would have received as a result of following the Stennis study recommendations. If the Stennis study is still current and up to date, then I think it would be wise to follow that. I am all in favor of bringing back the cost of living adjustment, something that should have been in place all of this time. And I would tie all other pay increases to performance evaluations.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next up is Kimberly Houston. You can go ahead. I left the question up for you, Kim. And just remember, guys, we have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer the question.
All right, thanks. And that is that's an excellent question. The Stennis study is a very good document for us to see how we kind of stack up against other cities as it relates to employees and their pay. As your next mayor, I'm going to make sure that we are doing things in a fair way. Right now, it just really depends on who you are as to when you get a raise, how much that raise is, and you can come up with these multiple job descriptions just to get more money, while others who are doing multiple jobs are still being overlooked. And so we must have a fair process. And I believe that raises and things of that nature, we got to get to a place where it's based on merit and also the cost of living, so that we won't continue to have people on the bottom. But when we do have our superstars within the city, we have an excellent workforce that needs to be recognized. And for those who are going the extra mile, doing their job, showing up every day, they should be able to have an opportunity to be rewarded for that.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Mr. Robert Ray. His name was pulled third. Mr. Ray, I'm going to go ahead and give you a platform. Same question. The question is on your screen.
Thank you, Cornelius. I have never heard of the Stennis report or whatever that was, but I don't know if you're talking about it coming from the Congressman Stennis that used to live up in the Cal. And if it was, I think that would be kind of outdated at this point in time. And I would want to get in and see who's getting paid what and what are they getting paid for. And that way I would be able to judge and have the judgment on who should be getting the raises. And I always think that the person that go the extra mile and the ones that doing extra work, one is willing to come in early and stay late if necessary. That's a pattern that I have. Stay till the job is done and do the people's business. Those are the ones that I would be trying to see that get a little reward. As I understand it, they say they're not being paid enough as it is, but anyway, that's the way I would do it. And what Miss Houston just said, she kind of explained the whole issue there. But I would have to look at it for my own self, and then I would judge what needs to be done with that pay rate. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Kevin, the next up is the mayor, Percy Bland. I'm going to go ahead and give him the platform. I'm going to leave the question on your screen, Mayor, so you can respond.
In regards to this study, no doubt about it, Mr. Cornelius, we spent $30,000 to $35,000 several years ago, actually in 2015 or 16, on this Mississippi State Stennis study for us to review the pay levels of our employees and team members compared to people in those same positions across the state. That report showed us that most of our employees were way underpaid, and that was because we had a pay scale or pay bands that were set back in 1991, 30 years ago. A lot of people through several mayors, going back to John Robert and Sherry Berry's administration, had already been outside of outdated pay bands. And, some of the things that we have done since I have been in office is the very first act that I did as mayor was to do a livable wage act. And what that did, and you see a lot of it being talked about on Congress right now, is they're trying to take minimum wage up to $15 an hour. We went from $7.25 to $9 an hour. The bottom line of it is we have given pay raises to police, fire, public works, and also to our core employees. And when we did those livable wage increases, it raised the bar for everyone in the city. So I think we need to continue looking at what the pay is in that Stennis study and be able to recruit good employees that are already with us and those that aren't, based on that study.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Bland, for that. And if you would, Pastor Gray, if you would read the question again for Randle Jennings, if he need be. Randle, you're last up on that question one.
Thank you.
Let me read that. You need me to read the question again for you? Okay. It's posted.
Yeah, go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it again. It'll help out.
Okay. As mayor, would you follow the Stennis study conducted by the city for recommendations for salary and benefits to ensure deserving employees would be compensated, or follow the old political way?
Thank you for the question, sir. Honestly, the Stennis Institute study has been around for a while, and it allows communities to understand exactly how they are to be able to adjust the pay raise and pay rates as far as their employees are concerned. What we found out was if your city is not growing and your tax base is not growing, it's hard to give the employees a raise. And I was proud of Mayor Bland to go and give them a livable wage and raise it up to $9 an hour. But at the same time, our cost of economy and our cost of living in the city of Meridian have not moved under 3 mayors, John Roberts, Chair Berry, and Mayor Bland. And so what we're saying now is that we're understanding what the Stennis Institute study is all about, and we know how they do a comparison analysis. But at the same time, we have to understand your city has to grow in order to be able to give the type of raises that you'll be proud of and that your employees would be proud of. Otherwise, they're working to their detriment, and they're working till they're down, and they'll get tired and then they'll start complaining. So I just want us to understand, I like the Stennis Institute study, but at the same time, it goes back to where our community is and our economy is. And right now, we're not at a growth. We're at a standstill. God bless you all.
God bless you, sir.
All right. I think that is all the candidates for question 1. Pastor Graves, you can go ahead with question 2, and I'll post it on the screen. We'll go in the same order. Weston Lindemann up first.
Mr. Parks, before we get going on this, I'm okay with answering this question first, but I would appreciate if we could redraw the names, because a lot of the things other people may say in the course of their answering questions, I may object to. And with me going first every time, I don't have an opportunity to object to anything anyone says.
Right. I understand. And I didn't, of course, we didn't formulate all that in the rules, but that is a good point. We will give you time, like a minute or so. Just write your notes down, and you can come back and touch on some of those if you don't mind.
Okay, that'd be great. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. All right, question 2, Pastor Grace, whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. What do you consider to be the greatest resource or resources in Meridian? And how would you utilize and cultivate these resources to provide needed improvement to the overall immediate community needs?
Well, I think really our greatest resource is people. We have some of the finest people you're going to find anywhere. But in terms of cultivating resources and how we can utilize the things at our disposal to advance the city moving forward, I think the same things that we've heard for decades now are actually our greatest resources. We've just failed to utilize those things. And that would be our location, our longest runway, our railroad, our infrastructure, location with the highways and interstates, industrial parks that we have. All of these things we've heard. There was a 2007 Meridian Star article that asked, why not East Mississippi? Even back in 2007, it was so common to hear how great all of these things are that should position Meridian economically to succeed. And yet all this time later, we're still hearing the same things. The problem, while we have some of the finest people you'll find anywhere, it's the leadership that's the problem. And once we correct the leadership, we can leverage these resources, all of those things that I just mentioned, all of those things that were mentioned way back in 2007 and even before then. Once we begin to leverage by having people in the right leadership positions, or the right people in those positions to leverage these things, we'll begin to see success.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And guys, if you would, I see the comments. I understand what Winston said. That was a very valid point. Due to time restraint, just write your notes down. If you want to rebuttal something that another candidate said, I will allow a minute for that after each question. So if we would, let's go ahead and stay in order. Kimberly Houston, you up next. Do you need the question reread?
I think it was talking about our most valuable resource, our greatest resource in the city of Meridian by far is the people. But at the end of the day, the people of Meridian, we spent a lot of time over the last 4 years focusing on our visitors. I want to be your mayor that focuses on the home team. You know, we can't sit here and talk about teams and things of that nature when the most valuable players are left sitting on the bench. If we really want to move this city in a different direction, the mayor's office and the city council and the citizens have to start rowing in the same direction, meaning that their voice has got to matter. Tourism is good. I'm not knocking that. We have set the stage so that people will prayerfully get off the interstate and come into our city. But until we start talking about the quality of life for the people that live here, you know, making sure that the streets are paved, making sure that the houses in the communities are not full of dilapidation, making sure that we start instilling stuff something to our young people so they can maybe stop shooting and all of the other things that are happening that makes our city so unattractive and our people fearful, we got to start focusing on the home team so that when our visitors come, the home team is still winning.
Thank you, Pastor.
All right. Next up, Robert Ray. Do you need the question reread, sir?
No, I don't need to be read. I heard it. The greatest resources I think in Meridian is the land and the industrial complex that we have out there, and the state highway that comes through here. I mean, the interstate that comes through here. I mean, we have all of these things that a big billion-dollar company could use immediately. But the people of Meridian themselves, we have a lot of dysfunctional people here in Meridian, and we have a lot of racist people here in Meridian. And until the races begin to be in harmony and get together on and looking in the same direction and trying to go the same way and forgetting about all of the racist stuff that Meridian has been through and is still going through, then we're not going to be able to do any of these things. Because if the people are not in harmony, then the city is not going to be in harmony, and everyone is going to be doing their own thing and trying to get their own needs met. And that's why I'm trying to bring the proper process into it so we can have all of those things. So that's all I've got to share about that.
All right. Percy Bland, you have 1:30 to respond. You need the question reread?
No, sir. The bottom line of it is, I mean, some of what each candidate has already said. I mean, it's our human capital, but also in the city of Meridian, you now have a situation where you actually have magnets that people will actually want to come to your city, and you have young families who may want to come and live in your city. We have a lot of great small business people here. And, I think that some of the things that we have that are going to attract people besides healthcare is the fact that we continue to have a junior college system that works with our local school district and our county school district. And you can almost go to school for free from K through your 4-year degree right here in Meridian. That's a huge asset in any city. The things that we have from our parks and recreational stuff and the things we have downtown, most small cities across this state don't have. They don't have at all. But the biggest thing is right now we have created an atmosphere where private public partnerships, along with our 501c3 agencies and our other public agencies, can all do great things to help the needs of our people here. So those are some of the things that I think are our greatest resources for the city of Meridian.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Last up, Randle Jennings, do you need the question reread?
No, I do not. I don't need it. Listen, the greatest resources we all have mentioned, it is the people. But we have to understand that there are 7 main factors that affect a city. One has to do with the education system. The other has to do with the family. The other has to do with the arts and athletics. The arts and athletics is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Multi-trillion-dollar industry. Now we got to go back to understanding what the media is. Those, I just named you 4, but there's 7 that's affecting us. And so with what's going on with Mayor Bland and the rest of the council, that's for the people to understand where we're going, we cannot pave, or we cannot go from 22nd Avenue to the interstate all the way up to Anderson Hospital and think that that's success. We have to fix our schools first. If we don't fix our schools first, we can't not ask what is the greatest resource in the community. Because if you don't have the greatest resources being serviced and propelled and pushed up in direction that's going to be beneficial to where we are as a community, we're wasting our time. So you all know that the greatest resources in any community starts with the people. Infrastructure is another word for people. People structure, intellectual structure. We got to fix that first. So that's everybody knows that. So that's where I am on that.
Okay. All right. Winston, I'm going to go ahead and honor what you said. That's so true, because I realize by the time we get to the last question, it's going to be hard to remember to go back. You guys, if you want to respond, you have to remember to mute your mic until you've spoken upon. I got some feedback somewhere. So guys, mute your mics. And if anyone of you candidates want to respond to another candidate, you have 1 minute to do so. Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll just say it sounded like there was mostly agreement on what our greatest resource is in Meridian. So the question that I think that should arise out of our apparent agreement is, why not East Mississippi? The exact same question that's been asked for decades. And again, I submit to you all that the answer is it is the leadership that has been the problem. If we change the leadership and we begin leveraging these assets, these resources that we have, I think that's where the answer lies. That's where the answer begins.
Okay. Anybody else want to respond?
I'd like to respond to what Mayor Bland said about the school system. We all know that the school system continue to get negative feedback and negative results when they do any testing about the school. But yeah, he's right. We do have the junior college and the college here, and you could go all the way through and get a 4-year degree. But what would you do with that degree except leave town to go try to get you a job somewhere? So this is what I'm saying. We need to have places down here so when a person does finish college down here, he'll be able to get a position down here in his hometown. He won't have to leave. And that's what everyone has to do in Mississippi. When they finish high school and they go to college, and even if they finish college, they can't come back home. They have to go to another city where the jobs are. So that's all I got to share about that.
Okay. Any other real quick? We got 30 seconds. If anybody else want to respond.
I do. Brother Ray was telling the truth about the fact that our junior colleges now is based upon the fact that we are starting all over again as though we're trying to begin something new. The school system has been fixed in Mississippi for hundreds of years. It started with a guy named Thomas Jefferson Harris. Y'all just know him by TJ. The school system has been fixed. It was the #1 producer of people all over the United States of America coming right here out of Mississippi. So what I'm saying to you all is that we don't have to start over. We just have to go back and retier what we already have and make sure that it works. The people are our greatest resources. Let's stop pretending as though the people are not our greatest resources. But that I'm a product of it. I don't know about the rest of y'all, where y'all come from, but I'm a product of Meridian Public School District. If we fix that, again, we can fix our community. Economy will go, housing will go. We won't have everybody still living in public housing. Y'all, come on now.
Okay. Kim, you want to respond? You are the mayor. If not, we'll move to question 3.
Actually, I'm good with my answer. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that we are putting our people in position to lead this city forward. But the 5 people, the mayor and the city council, the 6 people that lead this city, there's only so much we can do. It's really up to the people to tap into the many available resources that are here in Meridian, and then the leadership of this city to help move everybody in a direction that we all can be proud of, that Meridian will become attractive to industry. Meridian will become a hub for healthcare. Meridian can be a hub for education. There are so many things. It's time out for Meridian just being a city full of potential. As your next mayor, I'm committed to moving this city to a place where she is truly operating as the queen.
Okay, Mayor Bland, you want to rebuttal that question?
No, sir. Let's move on.
Move on. Okay. All right. Pastor Grace, I'll go ahead and question 3, and I'll go ahead and put it up for you. And again, we'll go in the same order. Winston, go up first.
Yes. Do you feel that racism is a problem in Meridian? If so, how would you ensure that all races are treated equally?
Yeah, I think racism is a problem everywhere. I think we still have deep-rooted systemic and structural racism that exists in many of our institutions. A recent publication that came out, I think late last year, highlighted the neglected toll of violence in Black communities. And one of the things that I'm going to be looking at instituting as mayor is building off of what the legislature's efforts are by bringing in trauma-informed counseling into schools. I think that's a big thing that could happen to try to tamp down the negative effects of that neglected toll of violence. I think sticking with your specific theme of this question and not getting too much into the weeds of policy specifics, I can answer emphatically, yes. And then the solutions there are to to actually address these issues head on and look at the structural changes that can be made within communities. So trauma-informed counseling would be one thing. Enhancing the educational system to allow for more skills involving emotional intelligence and conflict resolution, while not exactly related to racism. When you look at the residual effects of the systemic racism that exists in our society even today, I think that there are a lot of things, whether it's cleaning up blight in communities that have been neglected, or creating new opportunities for eliminating food deserts, and just building community wealth overall in areas that have been neglected as a result of systemic racism. That's a priority for me.
Thank you.
All right, Kimberly Houston, you're up next.
All right, great question. Racism is real. I think that's the first thing that we'll have to do is acknowledge the fact that racism is a very real thing. It's a spirit that has really got us by the throat and trying to choke us out. And as your next mayor, I'm going to be committed to what a cultural affairs initiative where we put the unity back in community. The only way that we can try to push past some of these things is if we be intentional about bringing the people of this city together, providing opportunities, whether it's cultural things downtown, whether it's forums, whether it's partnering with other organizations. We have to be intentional about bringing the citizens of Meridian together so that we can stop being so uncomfortable about this issue. We got to talk about it. We got to be real about it. And then we got to provide opportunities for the city to come together. When we have festivals and things of that nature downtown, we need to make sure that we are including every genre, that we're including opportunities for the people to come together so we can maybe, again, push past the things that divide us and find a reason to celebrate the things that bring us together. Then we can start ridding ourselves of the stigma of racism. You know, it may not ever go away because some of these folks that's dealing with these things, it's been in them. They were brought up in it and they don't see any other way. We'll have to expose them to greater opportunities, and we all have to have an end in mind that's bigger than what we see right in front of us.
Okay, Mr. Robert Ray, you're next up. If you need the question reread, or do you see it on the screen?
No, I don't need it reread. I have been trying to tell the mayor and the police chief that I have a systemic racism training for police officers, prevention and recovery. I've been trying to push it for the last couple of years. This is how you have to do it. If you can train the police station to be non-racist, and that's what my training process does. I was going to take 5 white females, 5 white males, 5 black females, and 5 black males. Now, if you can get those individuals, that 20 people, police officers, to be non-racist and get that out of them and have them to do their job professionally, whomever they come in contact with out there, then they would be right in the beginning of transferring Meridian to a non-racist city. And this is what the process I have will do. I know some individuals said you can't train people to be non-racist. But yes, you can, because they was trained to be racist from their family and from their background when they came up. So if you get these 20 individuals in there and you get all of the racism and put it out of the center of their being into the circumference of their being, then it's not going to affect them. When they go out to do their job, they're going to do it in a professional way, and everybody is going to be treated the same out there. So if I'm the mayor, that would be the first thing that I do, because until you get rid of this racism down here, nothing is ever going to grow in the region.
All right. Next up, Mayor Percy Bland. Pastor Grace, you can go ahead and reread the question.
Absolutely. Do you feel that racism is a problem in Meridian? If so, how would you ensure that all races are treated equally? I yield back.
As it relates to the city of Meridian, I mean, of course, racism and prejudices exist in the state of Mississippi and Meridian and across the United States in this world. And it's on all sides. People are prejudiced towards one another for a lot of reasons. But the bottom line of it is, one thing that we talk about in the city of Meridian all the time, diversity, having a diversity workforce within our departments and on our leadership team. And it shows through the last 4 to 8 years of my administration. We have had diverse management teams, leadership team, departmental head teams, and we try to push down that type of diversity throughout the city. Now, we still have some work to do in some of our departments so that we can be more diverse, and we're going to continue to work on those things. But one thing that we really want to do over the next 4 years is specifically work on this issue. And when I say this issue, I'm not talking about race relations. I'm talking about diversity and inclusion and providing opportunity. And what I want to provide opportunities for people outside of our workers is in housing. We have special housing initiatives that we're going to be introducing and hopefully moving forward to with some of the banks and institutions in the city, so that we can have better home ownership and better values for our citizens. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that we're lacking in the city, is we don't have enough people with home ownership.
All right. Last up on question number 3 is Randle Jennings. Do you need a question reread, sir?
No, I don't need to reread. No. Listen, we're born and raised here, and I'm only talking about Mississippi because we understand that this goes all the way across the spectrum. But what scares me more than anything else is the fact that we allow this type of attitude, a racist attitude, to permeate through our school system, where our children see this. And when our children see this, it becomes a part of what they develop themselves into being. If we want to get rid of racism, let's fix our schools. And we cannot do it with 70 to 75% white teachers in a 95% black school district. We're fooling ourselves. That's racism right there. So why are we pretending as though we're going to produce what we need when the kids are seeing what they're being affected by? We're not trying to tell other cultures that we're not willing to work with you, but we're trying to tell other cultures to give us a chance to incite our own children, give us a chance to understand where we're trying to go, give us a chance to be able to understand how to get out of public housing and go to home ownership. Give us a chance. And if you don't give us a chance, then you'll take my passion that I love, and y'all hear my voice, and you'll mix it up as though it's a racist attitude. I don't have racism in my bones. I grew up in a non-racist attitude, and I'm into baseball. If y'all ever seen baseball, y'all know good and well there's not very many blacks in there, so therefore I wouldn't have been able to stay in it these many years if it was about racism. What we have to do is stop teaching this stuff to our children, and it starts with where we're trying to fix them at in our school system. What we still up on a 1969-70 desegregation order that has everything to do with race. And now we're pretending as though we don't see it. We're not going to go anywhere until we resolve that matter, until we resolve exactly what we're faced with. And the stuff we're faced with right now, we're teaching our children racist mentalities the way we as adults are carrying on and treating each other. And that's not what we want to do. And so I understand where we are racism-wise. God bless you all on that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. All right. Now here's a minute for each one of y'all. If you want to rebuttal something someone said, let's be mindful. Let's try to move quickly as possible because we have been on the program a little over an hour, and we want to, of course, we want to stay within that a lot of time. Go ahead, Winston. You first up.
Yeah, I was intrigued to hear the mayor's comment about housing opportunities, addressing some of the inequities in our society as it relates to people owning homes. And I'm very proud to have stopped what I believe to be an example of predatory capitalism that the mayor and the councilwoman both pushed for. Now, there is a development that is yet to happen in Ward 4 that preceded my time on the council, but the proposed development in Ward 5 that would have been a perpetual rent-to-own scheme that would have resulted in continual renting and very little ownership, that was stopped in Ward 5 because I saw it for what it was. And this mayor and council have pushed for those types of projects. When I look no further than downtown Meridian, though, for an example of inequities in our local society, because one side of downtown is developed, but the African American Historical District is not. I went to the mayor and council in 2018 with documentation of some of the damages that occurred as a result of the so-called 5th Street revitalization project. And they all ignored me when I tried to get help for those business owners and property owners in the African American Historical District. Every single one of them ignored me.
All right, Mayor, do you want to respond to that since you was called out? You or Kim, Mayor first?
You know, the bottom line of it is when we're talking about what we're talking about in regards to home ownership, I'm talking about home ownership for those people right now who may be renting a house and have enough income to move into a house. The movement that's going on 5th Street and downtown is more of a thing that it's going to take local investors and people or persons wanting to invest in that area. I think a lot of that momentum is about to happen. We're doing mural projects and other projects over there. Some real estate has changed hands, and there's 1 or 2 entrepreneurs in that area that are doing a hell of a job with bringing those buildings back. The gentleman that owns the ruins and another business down there is making dramatic strides of bringing that area back. And I think that momentum is going to carry on to some other entrepreneurs who you'll be seeing buying and investing on 5th Street in that area pretty soon.
Okay, thank you for staying within that minute time frame, Mayor. Councilwoman Houston, you want to respond since she was called out?
Just real quick, the question was about racism, but I'll take this moment to address the that program that was introduced, I think up under the Berry administration. We did try to gravitate to it and pass some other things to with this organization that we were all hopeful. When you look in Ward 4 and you see the dilapidation, it's not out of sight and out of mind for me. I see it on my way home. So yes, I was excited about an opportunity to bring housing, affordable housing to the city of Meridian. Is it a perfect plan? No, but we look at the Carousel Place. I visit the Fair Street there in Jackson, visited some other properties that this organization was talking about bringing to Meridian. And I believe as your next mayor, we'll make sure that it finally gets done.
All right, guys. Let's move to question.
Hold on. I want to respond.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
And I want you to. I want all the panel to hear where we're coming from. We built public houses in the 1930s and 40s. We never intended for that to be a lifetime. Carter James Dyson, Dickie Dyson, is in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and he sends studies all the time. And he said, "Why are you all still having waiting lists for people to live in public housing when we built them in the 30s and 40s?" I understand that everybody got some understanding about what's going on with housing. We need people living in regular houses. That's true enough. But the racism starts when we talk about what we're sending our children into. If we can't resolve the school matter, we can't fix the rest of the city because it'll look good on one side, but it'll look really bad on the other side. And that's what we're facing with this administration and with this council, because I believe that they did their own level of racism to each other. Because 4 years ago, most of them was running for city council and was talking about a Democratic ticket. Now look at them. Everybody want to be the mayor.
All right. Let's move to question 4 real quick. And I'm responsible for the last 3 questions. Pastor Grace, thank you so much. And hang in. Don't leave because I may need your help. Okay. All right, guys, real quick. We'll move to question 4. And I'll put it up on the screen. Here we go. Do any of you ride the roads in Meridian? First off, let me say this. All these questions that we're reading out were submitted by citizens of Meridian. And myself and Pastor Grace, we talked about these questions and decided the 6 that we wanted to use on tonight. So just be mindful. These came from the citizens that live in Meridian, Mississippi. All right. Do any of you ride the roads in Meridian and notice that they are in dire need of fixing or repaving? What are your plans to paving the roads in the low-income areas such as the Red Line community? Winston, if you would, you want to respond?
Sure. I am the only council person on this council and in the 30-plus year history of City of Meridian councils that has proposed budgeting for paving. That's right. In 30-plus years, the City of Meridian has never had a line item in the budget for paving streets. I proposed last August that we could spend $4 to $5.5 million utilizing the internet sales tax revenue that the state legislature recently granted us that is supposed to be specifically for paving streets, along with the $4 million excess that we knew we were going to have at the end of the budget year, and that we knew we would have at the end of the next budget year also, because we did in 2018 and in 2019. So with all of that, we could continually pave streets by budgeting for it without going into debt, without raising taxes, and without cutting services. But this council instead chose to follow the lead of the current mayor by borrowing $6 million, knowing that they could not even spend all of that. And they have yet to spend any of it, in fact, because the paving projects won't begin until a little later this spring. They could have just followed my advice. And now, instead of using the internet sales tax revenue to pave streets for the next 15 years, instead, that internet sales tax revenue will be used to make debt payments for the next 15 years. So this council chose election year paving, and now they've hamstrung our ability to pave streets in the future.
Okay, thank you for that. Second up, Kimberly Houston, do I need to read the question, or do you have it?
No, at the end of the day, paving is an issue for all of us. I live where most of the people in this city live. I feel the bumps every single day. I'm just like everybody else. And as a mature leader, a leader with life experience, a leader that understands the concept of you cannot break the bank, you cannot save money over time and all of this. When the roof is leaking, when the house is falling apart, you have got to go down to the credit union, borrow the money, and start the process. We are looking at actually budgeting for paving, but the reason why it hasn't been addressed before as far as a budget item is because we had to build our reserves back up. Under this current administration, our reserves was about shot to nothing. And so we had to start putting things back, getting our reserves back to a place, and that's called responsible leadership, and holding the brakes and not just spending the money that's supposed to go into reserves, but going down, doing what we have to do, starting the process. We need $100 million if we're really going to talk about paving every street in Meridian. $12 million is nothing. That is just an opportunity for us to get started. We have a plan in place now to take $1 million in the excess and put it in the budget. And we're also using the internet sales tax dollars that, if everything goes as planned, will be here forever. And so we're in a good position now. The city of Meridian has done more paving now than it has ever done, even if it had not been budgeted and things of that nature. Up under the 8 years that I have been on this council, Meridian has done more paving than she has ever done. And as your next mayor, I'll make sure that we continue on by being responsible and doing what's necessary to get it done correctly.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Ray, do I need to read the question again, or you have it?
Yes, read that question again.
Okay, do any of you ride on the roads in Meridian and notice that they are in dire need of fixing or repaving? What are your plans to pave the roads in the low-income areas such as the Red Line community?
I'm really very angry about the streets in Meridian. I take a lot of people around. That's a lot of elderly people here and there and all over Meridian. And all I do all day is dodge bumps, lumps, and potholes all day, just dodging them, trying to keep my car from being torn up. Now, I realize that Meridian don't have a lot of money. They don't have but a pittance of money that needed to pave the city of Meridian. But see, that's what I'm talking about. My process is going to bring millions of dollars to Meridian. When they say that Meridian have the only systemic racism training for police officers in America, then all the other police stations all over America is going to be coming to Meridian, bringing their money and their dollars to get that same process that I would be giving to the police officers here. That we would have enough money to do everything and pave every street in Meridian, but you got to have money. It's no way, like Ms. Houston said, $100 million. It'll take Meridian 100 years to raise $100 million just trying to tax these poor people down here in Meridian. And for what you got, we've got to bring other people's money into the city of Meridian, and that's what I'll do if I become mayor.
Okay, all right, Percy Bland. Excuse me, Mayor Bland. You're next up. You want to go ahead and you have the question? Do I need to reread it?
No, I'm fine. We have paved, and it sounded like one of my commercials going forward. We have paved more streets in the city of Meridian, over 28 miles in the last year and a half by itself. Like Councilwoman Houston said, in the last 8 years, than up under any administration ever in the history of Meridian. We're very proud about that, and we have a lot more work to do. The $12 million bond was just a start because, as Councilwoman Houston said, it does take $90 to $120 million or more to pave and really put a dent in all the streets that need to be paved in the city of Meridian. We do keep normally between $6 to $10 million in reserves. It would be foolish and unwise and immature to ever spend that type of money just to pave streets. And then when something like a catastrophic event happens that's unforeseen, you don't have anything for a reserve fund. So the bottom line of it is this bond that we just did is just the start of a process. We also, with that bond, put what's called a paving, a PCI index, which that report will let us know the streets that are in most disrepair, so that we want to pave, as this question asks, those in the most underserved areas. This PCI index will tell us what streets or roads are in the worst condition so that we can put our priorities and our money in those areas.
10 seconds.
When this report comes back, surely the report is going to say that probably wards 2 and 4 are the most underserved areas in the most need of paving. And that's where we're going to put our money, like we have done over the last several years.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Randle Jennings, your last up on that question. Do I need to reread it?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay.
Wards 2, 3, and 4 have been underserved for the last 16 years. This administration has only been in office for 8 years. For the last 16 years, wards 2, 3, and 4 have not had any paving or necessary paving done to basically understand what needs to be done to upkeep a community. What troubled me, and I was hoping we were going to get to this, was the fact that President Donald Trump, and I'm not a Trump fan at all, but Donald Trump proposed a project called an Opportunity Zone. And you mentioned Martin Luther King. That's what made me think about the proposal. An Opportunity Zone was for the community to take back their own neighborhoods to be able to understand what needs to be done. That would have been housing, paving, upkeep, community schools, and what have you. We never barked into that. We never even bought into that idea at all. And we could have got federal and state help to be able to have the resources to be able to understand this. But when we miss out on opportunity zones like that, we have to listen to all this lip service, saying, I'm going to do this and what I plan on doing and all this kind of stuff, instead of realizing there are ways for you to get it done. And we have not, this administration has not gotten it done. And all he cares about is 22nd Avenue that goes up to the interstate, up to Anderson Hospital, and that's all we see.
All right. Here's the time where you have a minute to respond. Anybody want to go first and respond to that question on paving?
Yeah, I have no idea why the mayor and the councilwoman continue to say that I'm asking about advocating for taking out of the reserve fund. I think it's because they don't look at the financial reports as I do, and maybe they don't realize, even though I put it in a big chart for them over a year ago and showed them at a council meeting, that although we budget in our general fund budget for $35 to $36 million a year, we only spend $31 to $32 million a year. So without even dipping into the reserves, we could pave the same amount of streets that we're about to pave this year on borrowed money. Now, since they mentioned reserves and the mayor mentioned how foolish it would be to spend all of that, when he took office in 2013, the reserves were over $10 million. When I came into office in 2017, that number was dangerously low at $1.2 million because his chief financial officer artificially inflated revenues by $2 million to justify pay increases in an election year so he could fulfill an election promise. And that's a fact.
True.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll go to the mayor. Go ahead, Mayor.
The bottom line of it is when we first took office, we made a lot of investments into very underserved areas. We asked the council for $750,000 out of reserves to put aside money to match the state and other entities to build a $2.1 million very nice facility at Velma Young. That money was taken out of reserve money. We also made other infrastructure investments that we had to go to the council to ask for that money with the first council to get done. A lot of areas in town, Mr. Parks, one of the biggest things that the city was dark. the city was very dark. Right now, because of the project that we have with Mississippi Power, we have LED lighting in over 90% of the city of Meridian. We're going to get to 100% within the next month or so, and we'll have LED lighting throughout this entire city. The project that I talked to you about on the interstate, that's going to be over $25 million. There's going to be LED lighting on all 5 exits of the interstate. Those are major infrastructure investments that we did utilize money to do. So those are the investments that we made in the reserve account to move this city forward. And it was all with the vote of at least 3, but most of the time 5 council members to move forward on.
All right, Councilwoman Houston, you was called out. Do you want to respond?
I'm sorry, I had some kind of way to sound left, but at the end of the day, paving is a priority. We will have money put into the budget, working with the city council. Let's not forget that the city council controls the money. The city council, we can sit here and paint all these pictures and talk about all these wonderful things that we want to accomplish. But if 3 council members, whoever they may be, sitting on that council at the end of this journey, if they don't agree with any of the platforms, any of the things that we want to lay out, it's not going to happen. And unfortunately, since Mr. Lindemann called my name out, Mr. Lindemann has not been able to get the support of anybody with all of these ideas and things that he puts out there. So you need a leader that people can actually follow. Other than that, you can't call yourself a leader, because if nobody's following you, you're just taking a walk.
All right, Randle or Robert, you two haven't had a chance to rebuttal. You want to respond to anything on the paving?
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Dennis.
Take the walk. Take the walk, because if you don't take the walk and show that you have an interest about what's going on, you won't ever be heard about anything.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Ray.
All I have to say is that I ride these streets every day, and they have paved some streets, but when you go so far, then the road get rough again. And I would think that it would be best to pave a complete section of a track rather than go over this area and pave a little bit over there and have people thinking, whoa, we're getting paid, and go over there and pave a little more. I like over here where I live. Now they paved back there on Mosby Road where Mosby packing plant used to be. They came right down there, just as smooth when you get up there and you go all the way around there, almost to the boulevard. But from there back up to the extension here and by my place, I got so many bumps when I pull up in my place until it just, it's almost hurt my back to pull up in there. Why couldn't they have did that paving all the way by the village apartments so we would have double that? See, things like that. I mean.
Okay. All right. Then Rule didn't mean to cut your mic, but we want to stay within that minute time frame of responding, guys. That way we can stay with the program. Okay, guys, we're going to move on to question 5. Before we move to question 5, I just want to acknowledge our viewers. I see all the comments. Eddie, Crosby, Ruckus Smith, Claire, Jordan. I see your comments, guys. We would thank you for tuning in. I see over 100 live viewers on the live stream. Of course, there are other live viewers that's on YouTube as well as Facebook. I can't see all those combined, but we thank you for tuning in tonight. I hope this has been informative. And we have 2 more questions, guys, and I promise you we're almost done. But in the meantime, if anybody need to take just a quick break, we could just go for a quick pause, about a minute pause, and we'll be back shortly to finish up this debate. Stand by. All right, guys, you're watching Parks Investigative Live. I'm your host, Investigator Parks. I'm joined by my co-host, Pastor Kevin Gray. We have 5 of the Meridian, Mississippi mayoral candidates that's joining us tonight. Guys, we're having a great informative discussion. All the candidates have answered the questions so far, the 4 of the 6 questions that was submitted. And guys, we got 2 more questions to go before we get out with the final thought. But so far, guys, I just want to say I'm enjoying this debate on tonight. Thank you guys for following the rules and being respectful to one another. And that's perfectly fine. This is a debate, and we're not going to always agree on different matters. So again, thank you guys for staying in character. And so far, so good. Pastor Graves, when you agree, if you'll unmute your mic.
Yes, sir. I'm sitting here taking notes, listening to everything that has been said. I've been blessed by it. I'll comment a little bit more in detail later on, but I'm just sitting here gleaning and taking some notes and really just learning from all of the candidates. Being someone who is from New York, I live up north. My interest in what goes on in the city of Meridian is purely humanitarian, and I'm hoping that moving forward, leadership will collaborate with other people, regardless of what party affiliation they belong to get things done. But I'll.
Okay. All right. I think we lost Kevin, or he paused up on us, so we'll get back to him. All right. Question number 5. We'll go ahead and get started. If you had to overhaul or combine one particular department and refocus that department's attention on targeted community impact, and I'm assuming that ROI means return on investment, what would be your first logical approach? And I'll leave that up. That's like a 2-point series. Winston, since your name was pulled first, will you do the honors, please?
Sure thing. Well, I don't know about combining a particular department. At one time when we were absent a department head in Parks and Recreation, I did suggest some consolidations that made sense at the time, but I don't think that's a long-term solution. But as far as overhauls, I think there's more of a restoration that needs to take place in the community development department, led currently by a department head that doesn't seem, in my opinion, to be capable of really fulfilling the goals of community development, and with a decimated planning division that at one time had 4 or 5 city planners as well as an administrative secretary amongst them, now has 1 city planner in that department. Rather than have grant writing and administration within that department, we now have no grant writing, which an annual audit showed us was costing the city of Meridian about $2 million a year. And even though time and time again, I tried to make this a reality during the budget process, that we would hire more planners and have grant writers, once again, for whatever reason, as the councilwoman suggested earlier, the other council members would not follow me down that path. And so I was, in fact, walking alone. Now, what else does that department need? Well, right now, all they really have is code enforcement and building inspection. And one of the issues that we saw recently with the building of a Popeyes on North Hill Street that's causing traffic problems and perhaps a public safety issue could have been avoided had the right leadership been in the department and had we had the knowledge base that formerly existed. A lot of the people who were in that department were either relocated to a new position by the Bland administration for reasons that are unknown, or they left, oftentimes quitting in rage because of the ridiculousness and absurdities that would take place under this administration within that department. So not exactly an overhaul, not exactly combining, but a restoration of the community development department is essential to the success of the city of Meridian.
Okay. All right. Councilwoman Houston, do I need to read that question or post it back for you?
No, I think the question was about combining or either overhauling, if I'm not mistaken. In my opinion, I don't know of any departments that would really need to be combined per se. There are a lot of issues within every single department within the city of Meridian. And as your next mayor, I want to make sure that we get in there and really evaluate each department, see what's working, what's not working, make sure we have the right people in the right positions. We also want to make sure that training, it makes absolutely no sense that we don't have people within the city that's ready to step up to the next level. And if we do have those people within the city, it's a shame that the current administration has not acknowledged that talent and made sure that they had an opportunity for a promotion. And so I'm not good with just coming in and completely overhauling or combining until I'm able to have the opportunity to get in, see what's working, making sure, again, we have the right people in the right positions, making sure that we have training in place so that those that can be promoted in a fair way, and making sure that we're not ignoring the talent that we currently have within the city.
All right, thank you for that, Councilwoman. Robert Ray, your turn up. If you would, let me unmute your mic. I apologize. And go ahead. You need to read that question again, sir?
Yes, do read it.
Okay, I'll post it up on the screen as well. If you had to overhaul or combine one particular department and refocus that department's attention on targeted community impact, ROI, return on investment, what would be your first logical approach?
It's just like I'm always saying, it has to be the police department. I mean, we've had so many negative feedback and negative incidents that's happened with the police department, and everybody just go along with rose-colored glasses on, like it's going to change itself. It's not going to change itself until you change it, until you put these officers through a changing process. They're not going to change. The police station is not going to change. And if you got a leader who has been in systemic racism, which is the chief they got there now, he's not going to know how to deal with the black and white officers on the same level. So it's going to always be conflict there in that Meridian Police Department. And until they get some systemic training, which I have and ready to go on day one to get these officers trained, then the city of Meridian is not going to ever grow. It's going to always be that way. And this is, and combining anything, why are you going to combine two negative entities? So I don't think anything could be combined, because everything is so negative in Meridian. But I would fix that Meridian Police Department first of all.
Okay, Mayor Bland, you need me to post that question? Yes, go ahead, Pastor.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. My question, again, being from New York and not knowing the Meridian Police Department, is there, or if, and this is for all of the candidates, if you are elected mayor, would you implement a program or programs that would bridge the gap between law enforcement and the police? Here in New York, we have something called Build the Block. We have precinct community council meetings. We have community and law enforcement engagement in positive ways to break that yoke, if you will, to establish new relationships. And this is really what it's about. When we have community who trust the police and who are willing, that's the key now, who are willing to work with the police, that's when we can really begin to see the results that we're looking for. And I know I'm going right, and I don't want to, and for the sake of time, I just want to share that, and you can answer accordingly. I yield back.
Okay, I'll stay on. Mayor Bland, you want to respond to that question, or what Pastor Gray had to say?
So is that a new question, or are we still asking the question about combining two departments?
Well, let's go with
a new question.
Yeah, let's go with the first question that I posted up here. Since we were on that question, then we'll kind of get to Pastor Gray's point. If you had to overhaul or combine one particular department and refocus that department's attention on targeted community impact, return on investment, what would be your first logical approach, sir?
My plan for that is, the bottom line of it is, we don't need to combine any two departments. We have 7 or 8 departments right now. They all need to be standalone departments that need to be adequately funded through our budget process to provide the services and needs and programs that they need to by each department. What we are going to be looking at in the next few weeks is, once this COVID-19 package that the Biden administration has just done for $1.9 trillion becomes effective and in play, we know that the city of Meridian is going to receive about $8.5 million of one-time funding. So we're going to look at several of our departments, including community development, the police department, public works, workforce development, summer work programs, and Parks and Rec, and some of our other programs, to see how we can utilize this money to make the most impact on our people here. In regards to the pastor's question, we do have a police advisory team that does meet with the chief and his leadership team and my CAO about once every 2 to 4 weeks. They do discuss the issues that have come up in our community, if it relates to police shootings, if it relates to issues with mistrust and other things that go on at the police department. That committee of about 8 to 12 people is very diverse. They challenge him, they challenge my team on the things that people are communicating about. Last week, we were supposed to actually have a person chosen to be that liaison person between that committee and the community. And those, a lot of people on that committee that were not for Mayor Bland type of people, so that there would be some trust there. So when we first initiated that, about 30 or 40% of the people on that committee were people who did not agree with a lot of the policy decisions and other decisions that this administration made.
Thanks, Mayor. We got to move on. All right, Randle Jennings, if you would, do I need to reread that question for you, sir?
Yeah, reread it so I can have a full understanding of what you're asking.
Okay. All right. I'll post it on the screen as well. If you had to overhaul or combine one particular department and refocus that department's attention on targeted community impact, return on investment, what would be your first logical approach? And your time starts now.
Targeted community impact involves every department or every division that the mayor has autonomy to, that the city council has autonomy to. If you understand, going back 150 years, crime was not high, our schools were successful, and our businesses were successful. If I had to combine anything, I would put a Parks and Recreation, our police department, some form of it, and the school system. Even though the school system is not up under the mayor's auspice, I would put them together so they can understand how to target community impact. If these three are put together, the police will understand how to service their community. They would become friends with their communities. They would become friends of the children. They would become friends of the school system. We would not be in a situation where we have to be worried about talking about redefining or retargeting a department or a situation that's been going on for more than 150 years. We got a new mayor two terms ago, and we thought that he knew exactly how to fix our communities. And the biggest thing that he did not do was he did not focus on the people at all. And if you don't focus on the people and all you focus on the business side of it, you're missing 6 other major categories that's going to impact your decision as far as your leadership. And that's what we're facing. So I just know that the Parks and Recreation, the school system, and the police department in some kind of way should work together in a formulation called collaboration. They should collaborate. This was a part of the dynamics ever since we were segregated and now integrated. So let's fix this and let's stop pretending as though we don't know exactly why the police are not successful. We don't know exactly why Park and Recreation is not successful. And we don't know why the school system is not successful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, Mr. Jennings. 1 minute for rebuttals. Who wants to go first?
I will. The question that that was asked about how to bring the police department and the citizens together. I want to make sure that we continue our efforts for our neighborhood watch program. I'd love to see neighborhood watch programs in each and every ward within the city of Meridian. We want to make sure that the Meridian Police Department, that they are actually hosting events within the city, being intentional about engaging the citizens. And then I introduced this last Saturday in my town hall meeting, Community Policing Advisory Council, where we pull members of the community together in an open forum so that we can be advised about what's going on, build that bridge, and then those individuals can then take that back to the various places in which they live, work, play, and we start building that bridge within the community. You have to be intentional, and it has to be a priority if we truly want to build that bridge between the Meridian Police Department and the citizens, so that we all can feel safe and we can all be comfortable and know that when we call them, they'll be there.
All right. Anybody else want to rebuttal that question? 1 minute.
Yeah, I'd just like to say this. All of that sounds good that Ms. Houston is talking about and some of the others, but unless you change the mentality and the behavior of the police officer, none of this stuff is going to happen. Nothing is going to change in Meridian. That's why I say you have to change the police officers themselves. So when they go out there, when a white officer go out there and confront these young black guys, they don't have a clue that these guys came up different from when they did. They use a lot of profanity. They use a lot of bragging and swagging and bullying stuff. But these white officers, they get afraid automatically, thinking that the black guys is ready to go to fighting or go to shoot or go to killing. Until they understand the genius of the black race here in Meridian, and that's what I will be teaching them and training them, then none of this stuff is going to work out at all. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right.
Hey, brother Parks, can I just chime on just a little bit?
Sure. 1 minute. Go ahead.
We need the police department and the community to be almost like sisters. The same way we need Parks and Recreation and the school system to be twin sisters. If we get all of them on the same page, then we save our community. Brother Ray was just telling you, the young brothers are growing up now without the fathers in the home. And so therefore they carry their own swagger. I got 7 children, 5 boys and 2 girls. I got 9 grands. They know what a man stands for and how to look at and expect and respect my commands. This generation is going up, I'm sorry, but not understanding how to take commands and not know how to deal with our young boys. And therefore, we got to disconnect that's totally from our community when it comes to the police, the Parks and Recreation, and the school system. Totally disconnected. They have no idea about each other. And so therefore, we can't fix each other until we start to collaborate.
All right, guys. If nobody wants to rebuttal in that 1 minute, we'll go ahead and move to the last and final questions on tonight.
Yeah, one
Sure,
second,
go ahead.
Mr. Parks. I lost connection for a minute. I was going to say on the subject of community policing and that sort of thing, I will give credit to the mayor, his police advisory board, so much as it is, more of a committee and rather a board of community policing and making an outreach effort. And I think more of that is important. As far as people living inside of the city limits, our police officers, I have a plan to incentivize that by increasing the starting pay for police officers who live inside the city of Meridian.
Okay. All right. You broke up on the first part of that, but I think for the most part, I caught the end of it. And guys, if you're out there listening, if you didn't hear everything Winston had to say or any of the other candidates, just send a message in there. All right. Anybody else want to rebuttal? Mayor Bland, I think you and the only one, and you and Kim haven't responded to that. All right. We'll go to the last and final question on tonight, and that is question number 6, and I'll post it here. Would you consider building a convention center here in Meridian for economic growth? Winston, you're first up. Unmute your. Go ahead.
I'm having connection issues. Could you circle back to me, please?
Okay, sure. All right. Kim Houston, you want to go ahead and take that first question, please?
Hey, well, I'm not opposed to a convention center. I'm not opposed to a sports complex. I think at the end of the day, one of the problems with leadership is that sometimes we jump out there without getting all the facts. We jump out there without listening to the experts. we jump out there and not listen to the people. That's why I think it's important that we include the people in the process. We have talked about convention centers and things of that nature, the sportsplex. We're actually in the mode right now to see if we can even get that on the ballot for the citizens of Meridian to even vote, if that's something that we truly want here in the city. So I'm not opposed to a convention center. We would have to make sure that we're partnering with the state, with the county, and of course our city leadership to make sure that we're all singing the same song and getting it done. It takes a lot of money. It takes planning. It takes making sure that those partnerships are in place to bring something like that to the city. And if by chance there is some organization that specializes in convention centers and they want to come here and locate that here in Meridian, a lot of times those things, they don't generate a lot of money, and we have to make sure that we're putting things in Meridian that the people of Meridian are going to really utilize, buy into, and it will not become a burden here. I think we have the hotels, the highways, the rail and airport. We got all of those things. So we got to focus on the home team, get our people in position to receive some of those kind of things, and then we can move forward.
All right, Winston, we'll go back to you since you was first up. Do you have your mic issues worked out?
Yeah, I think I'm good now, as long as you guys can hear me. I think that one of the primary reasons why, other than we can pave more streets without borrowing money and following my plan, one of the primary reasons why we should get away from so much bonded borrowing for our regular recurring expenses, and the Board of Supervisors should do the same, is because when we look at these big projects like this, we would be so much better positioned to accomplish these goals, whether it's a sportsplex, a convention center, an amphitheater, whatever the idea may be, if we haven't already borrowed so much money for basic expenses like paving streets that we're already supposed to be doing in our budget. So I think similar to the Councilwoman's comments that where feasible and when the data suggests that we should make those types of investments, we absolutely should follow through with that. But we'd be much better positioned to do so if we had better financial management of the city and follow the recommendations that I've suggested.
All right. Thank you for that. All right. Next up, Robert Ray. I promise you, Robert, we're almost done. Hang in there with us, buddy. Hang in there with us. Do I need to repeat the question?
No, you don't need to repeat it. I am definitely pushed away from building any more venues here in Meridian. Nobody is coming to these places. The MAC Center, they had to have the Arts Commission give them $35,000 so that they could go through. These venues and these building these things, and people are not coming to Meridian, I'm telling you, until we get this racism started. Black and white people do not go places together. That's just the way it is. When they get this children's museum started, which they don't even know if that's going to be a success, but I just don't see it. I just don't see people coming to that. And the 3-foot building, we don't even know if that's going to be a success. We don't know if people are going to want to come down there. They won't use the garage that's built down there. We don't know that. But everybody is expecting these things to be successful, but they are not. Until we deal with the racism in the police and sheriff department in Meridian, none of this stuff is going to happen. No, you don't need, the last thing you need is a convention center here to waste all of the people's money on that, and nobody's going to come. Nobody's going to come to Meridian.
All right. Percy Bland, you want to respond to that?
We are in the process right now of trying to get legislation passed on the sportsplex. That's where our focus and commitment is right now. I mean, the bottom line of it is I would not be opposed to something else in the future. I do think that we need capacity downtown to have a venue to entertain and to be able to bring people in for large conventions that we don't have right now. Councilwoman Houston is correct. I mean, the timing, the legislation that it takes to pass, the partnerships that it takes between city, county governments, the state, and other private funding to make something like that happen is very complex, and it's not something you just say, we need this, and then it happens. Just like people, think, we need all our streets paved, and then it just happens. It doesn't happen like that. The bottom line of it is it takes time, it takes money, and in doing big projects like that, right now, I don't think as a city, with the things we have on the table right now, that we can make a commitment to it at this time.
All right. Thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. Randle, Minister Jennings, you want to go ahead and that final question about a convention center?
A convention center is nice. A sports complex is nice. But it's all based upon whether or not you're going to actually have the children prepared. And this is really a county venture. This is really not a city venture. But if the county wants to take lead on it, that's okay. But it's got to fix the schools first. And once it fixes the schools, the convention center or a sports complex will service the needs of children wholeheartedly. Mayor Bland was right about the fact it could basically take care financially of itself. Only thing about it is you got to figure out who's going to build it and who's going to have the autonomy to say that I control it. But understanding until we fix the school system, until we understand exactly what's going on in our communities, because we got a thing called a summer program where they call it state games. State games is a venue that's dynamic, but we don't have any local kids in the community that understands how to participate or even how to sign up and want to participate. So my thing is, I'm all in favor of sports complexes. I don't think that it's a doable situation from where we are, but I think it's a situation where understanding that our sports complex or our convention centers is kid driven, and we ain't prepared our kids yet. So we got to understand exactly how we want to do this. And let me be the first to tell y'all, man, Major League Baseball is not a big fan of travel baseball. Travel baseball is big throughout other parts of the country, but it's trying to be big here in Meridian, but it's leaving out a whole cohort group of people, and you can't do that. So I understand exactly what's going on in understanding of the convention center and the sportsplex. But at the same time, we got to fix our people. We fix our community, we fix our school, we fix our people, and we can automatically talk about building convention. Go up to South Haven, Mississippi. Go down to Biloxi and see all these new complexes that's coming in. They're all built around sports complexes with travel baseball. Mayor Bland got a son that plays travel baseball. We know what's going on. Ain't nobody naive about the whole gamut about what's happening. But you got to understand, it's got to be invested heavily by the county first. And right now, our county they don't even want to help Joe Norwood build a sports park, a complex over there by Highland Park. Why we think it's going to come on when it comes to talk about building a major convention center or sports complex? All right, man. I'm done with it, but we cannot pretend like it don't exist. We know exactly what's going on. The community knows what's going on. So all right, if you all want to help.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Jennings. That was all the questions submitted. Now I'm gonna give my co-host guys. I promise you, we're gonna be done. We've been on an hour and 49 minutes. We're gonna stop before that 2-hour time mark. I think we've done pretty good to have 6 questions. Everybody kind of stayed on task with the time allotted. I appreciate that from all the candidates. And I'm gonna give you guys a final thought. 1 minute to get that final thought out there. But Pastor Graves, if you would, anything that's relevant to this area that you see as an outsider that you want to ask the candidates?
Wow, I don't know where to start. I'm grieving right now, and what I mean by that, I'm grieving for Meridian because this is an American problem. This is not just a Meridian problem. These are issues we have all over this country. But as I said earlier, I have a humanitarian interest in this, and I care very much about all of you. I don't care what party you belong to. I don't care what color that your skin is. That's unimportant to me. But I want to go back to what we were talking about earlier in our discussion with regards to people being our greatest resource. And what I'm hearing, Meridian is not poor. I'm going to say that louder. Meridian is not poor. Meridian is yet to tap into its wealth. Meridian is yet to understand its identity. Until Meridian begins to understand its wealth and its identity and what makes it great, which is its people, it will always be struggling, one step forward, three steps backwards. And that is what I'm hearing. Meridian is slow to evolve. I'm not downing your city, but this is what I'm hearing. So hear me. For those who can hear me in the spirit. If you understand what I mean by that, is I'm hearing that there is wealth for you, but there are hindrances in your way. There's a lot of blockage, and a lot of this blockage dates back years, even centuries. And I'll even say that there's even residue of Jim Crow present, where people want to keep the old system. They want the old South. They want the old way. And you're fighting. It's the old way, the old system. You're fighting a system now. You're not fighting people. Your war is against a system that doesn't want to change. So you keep banging your head against the wall because you know what you need to do, but you just can't get there. And it's been years of this, and it's frustrating, and people are tired, and we're fighting one another. We will never come to peaceful resolution until we first value each other. What I'm hearing is us versus them. I'm just going to worry about me and mine. I don't care about you and your problems. It's everyone for themselves. People, this has to stop. And this is not just a Meridian problem. As I stated earlier, this is an American problem. Everyone for themselves. How do we build up an infrastructure that is lacking? And that was also I had some questions on the side. I'm not going to get to it for the sake of time. That I'm an outsider. I'm from New York. And let's say I'm a business owner. And I hear about Meridian. Oh, I've been thinking about relocating and expanding my business. Why would I want to take my business to Meridian? What's there for me? What's there for my family? What's there for my business? How can I, and not just as outside investment, okay, but what about the businesses that are currently in Meridian? What is the plan or strategy to stimulate those businesses, to develop them, to create an infrastructure that is moving and thriving, and people are working, and you're turning a dollar, and the dollars are staying in your community. They're not going elsewhere, but they're staying in your community to grow the community. I'm going to share this statistic with you, and Brother Cornelius, you know it. In 2017, the Nielsen report stated that the Black community accounted for $1.2 trillion in consumer spending. That's in 2017, a number that is projected to go up this year to $1.5 trillion. So what does that say? We have money. We just are not, where is it going? We just don't know where to allocate, or maybe we're too busy spending on things that possibly we don't even need. Where is this money being allocated? Is it staying in our community? How long does a dollar stay in our community? Do we know these things? So I'm all for investment in myself, investment in my community. Why? Because it's important. I'm not going to put my struggles off on somebody else, but I'm going to say, what can I do? What can I do to be the change that I want to see? As Mahatma Gandhi said so many years ago. What can I do? I'm not going to put my business, okay, Weston, what can we do? Okay, Pastor Kim, okay. No, what can I do to help make a difference? And I thank God for our elected officials. God bless you for the work that you're doing and the sacrifices that you're making. But I don't put all my problems on my elected officials. Why? Because they're human, and not all of them keep their promises. And trust me, I'm sure Meridian doesn't want another politician. Okay.
That's right.
So education. If there's poverty, we got to understand education. What are we going to do? What can we do? Not just as politicians, as citizens. How can we invest in our children's future? Not just that they're getting an education, but a quality education. That is the key, a quality education. And we're not investing in people. So I go back. People are not our greatest resource for a lot of us. We say it, we give it lip service, but people are not our greatest resource. And until people becomes our greatest resource, we will continue to have these conversations. So I will pray for the city of Meridian as we pray together, as we pray for our country. But what I'm hearing in Meridian is no different than what I'm hearing all throughout our beautiful country. But as far as staying on message with Meridian, I'm going to pray and I'm going to hope that, again, everything that was said here tonight will come to fruition and that there will be a collaboration of Democrats and Republicans to see that we truly need one another. As Dr. King said, as a society, we have not learned to disagree without being violently disagreeable. And that is our problem. And that still holds true today. I yield back.
All right, Pastor Grace, thank you for that. Guys, we've been almost 2 hours. We have about 4 minutes left before we end this program. I'm going to give you 1 minute each for a final thought. And just for the mayor, he did send a text, said that his phone is down to 1% and that he didn't have his charger at his headquarters. That's the reason why his abruptly exit. So therefore, we would excuse the mayor for his final thoughts. But with that being said, we'll go to Councilwoman Kim Houston first. You give it one final thought, 1 minute, and we'll move on.
All right. Thank you. Again, thank you for hosting this tonight. I hope that the citizens of Meridian have had an opportunity to look at each of the candidates, because we all want the same thing. And it comes down to Meridian, what do you want? Leadership style matters, and the perspective changes everything. I see the housing issues that we have. I hear the gunshots at night. I drive down the bumpy streets, and I'm just like you, ready to move this city in a different direction. I know when all is said and done, there's a reason why I'm running. And I want to encourage you to ask yourself, do you want a mayor that's putting emphasis on the visitors or the home team? You want a mayor that is fair, or you want one that's questionable? You want one that's experienced, or you want one that's immature? Do you want one that's professional, or do you want one that's inconsistent? It's up to Meridian. Meridian can only be as great as Meridian wants to be. And I'm asking for your vote on April the 6th, whether you are Black, white, Republican, or Democrat. I am asking you for your vote. I have shown you that I can lead and play well with others by the things that we were able to accomplish with this administration. And I have shown you through the things that I brought to board for, that I'm willing to step out in faith and start some things that will be in the betterment for everyone. I want to be the mayor that puts the people of Meridian first, so that we can begin to be groomed and take this city to the next level, so that we can be more attractive to bring in industry, our educational system, and then the overall quality of life for the people that live here.
All right, Mary Bland, I got your text message. I know if you forgot your charge, I'm going to let you give your final thoughts before you get out of here. And I apologize, Winston, you was next. Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, so what's the question, Cornelius? Because I didn't hear the question. I just back on. If it hangs up, if it goes out, it's because of.
Right, we're past all the question now. It's the final thought. You got a minute for a final thought.
Okay, listen. Over the last 4 years, we have moved this city forward, proven leadership, positive leadership, and progressive leadership. No city is perfect. No person is perfect. We have made a lot of tough decisions, a lot of unpopular decisions. But the bottom line of it is, this past year with what has happened with COVID, we have been a steady hand that has continued our city moving in the right direction as it relates to our small businesses and also our sales tax revenues moving forward. This administration, my team, has over 150 years of managerial and leadership experience. We want to continue to move this city in the positive direction that it's moving in. And we want to continue to modernize a lot of our systems and processes. And I ask everyone out there that's listening to this show for your support and your vote as we continue to move this city forward over the next 4 years, and vote April 6th to reelect me Percy Bland as your mayor.
All right. Thank you for that, Mayor. All right, Weston Lindemann, you're next up.
All right. I do think unity is important for the city of Meridian. It's a problem, as the pastor said, all over this country. I think unity has to be a priority, but I want to emphasize that it's much more important what we're unified both for and against. And for the past 4 years, it's true, I've been alone in standing against many of the problems that have been caused by this administration, against many of the horrible proposals that have been presented by this administration. And I've been standing alone when advocating for some positive advancements for the city of Meridian. But we don't have to go it alone after this June 8th election, because a new administration and a new council will come in. I believe I'm the only choice for mayor because we have 3 or 4 candidates in this race that really represent the status quo. If you want more of the same, you could vote for them. But I get the sense that Meridian is ready for change. Simply put, we don't need to look backwards to ensure Meridian's progress. My future is very much still ahead of me, and I think you'll see too that the promise of Meridian's future is still ahead of us as well, and we can get there together. Thank you for this opportunity, and I appreciate y'all all participating in this debate.
All right, hey guys, if you would, I'm going to let Robert and Mr. Jennings finish up, but please don't exit, because we definitely want to do the benediction and end this in prayer. Of course, we want to acknowledge Lord Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and we give all thanks and honor to him. So we definitely want to end this in prayer. So guys, hold on. I promise you we're almost done. All right, Mr. Ray, if you would, you're next up. Final thoughts?
Yes, I'm anxious to share that I'm the only one with a process that can fix people, places, and things. And that's what I will do if I'm elected mayor. I was born in Meridian. I went to finish high school in Meridian. I went out in the world, brought back a process to fix people, places, and things. I love Meridian, and I understand Meridian, and I can fix Meridian. So if you vote for me, I already got the process ready to go. If you keep doing the same thing, they've had 8 years of administration to make Meridian great, and they can't do it. So they say doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is what insanity is. I'm going to bring sanity. I'm going to bring millions of dollars to Meridian, and I'm going to bring millions of people to Meridian with my process. Now, if anyone else can do that better, then vote for them. But if you want to see Meridian become great and successful for our children and everybody else getting their piece of the Meridian pie, then you've got to vote for Robert J. Ray, the Republican who's running for mayor of Meridian. That's all I got to share, and I'm anxious to move on.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. Ray. And I told you earlier, we're almost done. I promise you, Mr. Jennings will be the last one.
Listen, I appreciate, Mr. Parks, I appreciate you being able to host this virtual debate. And I'm going to call you Reverend Graves, because God spoke to you to speak to us. And I thank you for that. And at the same time, I want people to realize Meridian got fixable problems. You can't say it's a black thing or white thing. It's a fixable thing. Meridian has fixable problems. We just have to understand how to go ahead and get it fixed. And God will lead us with insight and wisdom to understand how to fix a problem. He's the answer. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the whole 9 yards. I just want us to understand on April the 6th, Randle Jennings has been here and gone through pure hell trying to show you that I care about you all. But we have to stop fooling ourselves. We don't collaborate the way we're supposed to. We don't communicate the way we're supposed to. And we don't invest in people. We selectively pick people, and that's not fair, because God knows that we are all in this together and our community is in this together. So if you want the right candidate to lead us out of the muck and the mire, that's what we're in right now. I'm your man on April the 6th. My name is Randle Jennings. I am a career educator. I am a father. I am a grandfather. I am a husband, and I am a man of God, and I love Meridian, and this is my home, and we're going to fix it.
All right, guys. Look, let me personally say thanks to all of you for participating on tonight. Mayor Bland, Councilwoman Kim Houston, Councilman Weston Lindemann, and Minister Randle Jennings, and also my favorite, Robert Ray. I just like the way you deliver your message. You're so blunt, so don't take any offense when I say my favorite. I can hang out with you and we can have a good conversation. But anyway, I enjoyed this debate on tonight. I know it went over a little bit over the time that we wanted it to, but again, I am very humble and I'm excited. I think this went really well. It was very informative. We had a lot of viewers on. We had a lot of comments, and again, not everybody's going to agree with you guys. We know that. With that being said, again, thank you so much for coming on Parks Investigative Live. This is something that God birthed in me over the summer while we was at home in the midst of a pandemic, and I hope this was very informative. And I said this last on my previous live. I don't use this platform as a bully pulpit. This is not here to get here and attack individuals we disagree with or we don't like. That's not the message I'm sending. We want to be, we want to use this to get the word out. Or in a situation like in Meridian, this is a municipal election, and due to COVID, a lot of these forms that we're used to, and Winston would agree, and the mayor and Kim, we won't have these traditional forms where people will come and be able to sit down one-on-one. This technology that we're using, I thank God for it. So, and I hope you guys would share this live for the viewers who was unable to attend tonight. Tonight's Wednesday. Most people have Bible study on Wednesday, etc. So they will still have time to watch this live in the future. Once we sign off, it will be left up on Parks Investigative Live, as well as anybody who shared it. The video will remain there. So again, guys, I don't want to talk too much. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, I'll end this saying, until we speak, enjoy life and living. Thank you so much, and thank God for all of you. Thank you for your time, and many. I'll be praying for all of you for the blessings and whoever God's choice is to be the mayor or the next mayor. It's His will. His will be done. Thank you guys so much. Pastor Graves, stand by. Meet me in the back screen. All the other guys, you're free to sign off. Thank you so much. And
can I pray for the candidates before they log off?
Oh, absolutely. Guys, we're going to go into prayer real quick, and then we'll end it, and you guys can sign off. Again, thank you for the birthday wishes as well. I took time out, even on my birthday, to make sure this platform reaches the people who wants to hear from the candidates. So thank you for those who wish me happy birthday on here, on Facebook as well. And I do have a Cash App, so guys, you remember that. All right, here we go. Pastor Gray, if you would, innocent prayer real quickly. Thank you.
Absolutely. My dear brother Cornelius, Pastor Kim, Minister Randle, Councilman Weston, Mayor Bland. Who am I leaving out? Forgive me if I'm leaving someone out. Okay. Amen. Thank you.
Reverend Mr. Ray.
Reverend Ray, God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much. I just want to applaud you all for being a part of this broadcast. I'm just reiterating what Cornelius has said. And I just want to say thank you so much. It was an honor being with you all tonight and with the viewers of Meridian and abroad. Heavenly Father, I thank you for what you've done tonight. I thank you for transparency, Lord. I thank you, Lord, for the words that have gone forth. And I pray that these words would bring healing. I'm praying that, Lord, these words would be true. I'm praying that these words, Lord, would go forth and truly make a difference in the lives of the men and women and children of Meridian. Lord, I am hoping, I am praying that, Lord, something new is going to take place in the city of Meridian, Mississippi. Lord, I am calling on you now, Lord. I am calling on your angels, Lord, to begin to shift the atmosphere of Meridian, Mississippi. Lord, I decree and declare, for Lord, there is power, as you said in your word. There is power in declaration. There is power in decrees. There is power in your word. And I decree and declare now that, Lord, you are shifting the layers, the yoke that so many people have been under, Lord. People have had issues, Lord, with regards to employment, with regards to education, with regards to establishing businesses, Lord. I pray that, Lord, Meridian would experience an economic uplift and economic prosperity that it has not seen before. And Lord, they will give you glory. The residents of Meridian will know where their blessings have come from, and they will give you glory in the midst. And I pray that, Lord, you would do something new, a fresh touch for the city of Meridian, Mississippi, Lord. It has been behind. Meridian, catch up. You've been falling behind. You've been falling behind for too long. Too long you have been in the dark. It is time for you to move and come forward in the name of Jesus. I decree and declare for the residents of Meridian, Mississippi, that you shall wake up. You shall wake up and you shall begin to tap into your identity, who you are, what your purpose is. I decree and declare that doors, supernatural doors, doors of education, doors of entrepreneurship, Lord, ideas for the men and women and children of Meridian, Lord, give them new ideas. Even as they sleep at night, Lord, I pray that ideas would come to begin to build the economy of Meridian, Mississippi. Hallelujah, Lord. Do it, Lord, as only you can. Hallelujah. We can't do this in our own strength. So, Lord, we call on you to begin to move in this city, begin to move in our elected officials, begin to move in our mayor, begin to move all throughout Meridian so that it can be a shining example to other cities in the state of Mississippi, and yes, even our country. So, Lord, do it for your name's sake. Do it because you are God and you can. Lord, do it, Lord, for your name's sake, Lord, and be glorified in the midst. And we ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen and amen.